So my research looks at space radiation and cancer because there's a concern that once you get outside of the Earth's magnetic sphere, that exposure to deep space radiation could lead to a lot of adverse events. So space radiation, or specifically what we look at as galactic cosmic radiation, is a consistent permeating radiation of both waves and particles that kind of fills the interstellar interplanetary vacuum. And it's made up of a lot of heavy ions that come from supernova elsewhere in the galaxy, as well as a lot of waves and particles that are smaller. And as these waves interact with other materials, they can essentially rip electrons off of the other whatever material they come in contact with. And if that material happens to be DNA, then that's a very big problem. So we're trying to figure out what the consequences of that would be for deep space astronauts. Prostate cancer is already one of the only two cancers that astronauts get at a higher rate than the Earthbound population. And while a lot of prostate cancer isn't very severe in that most people will die with prostate cancer instead of from it, one of the subtypes of prostate cancer that is much more aggressive is actually radiation driven. So there's a subtype called neuroendocrine prostate cancer that often arises after exposure to ionizing radiation as a treatment. And one of my concerns is that if you were to try and travel to Mars, you could take this population that's already at risk of developing prostate cancer in a low Earth orbit, more shielded environment, put them in this high radiation environment for 3 years. That's well within the time frame for this NEPC to develop and become aggressive and potentially fatal within that time frame. And so we're just trying to make sure that if that is a risk that deep space astronauts have to worry about, that they're well informed and that treatments can be enacted in advance. PRISM is a tool that we're using. It's been developed by my mentor, Dr. Shahong Liu, and it essentially lets you visualize specifically cells that have undergone DNA damage and have a resulting genomic instability. So it was developed to trace neurons that have undergone damage, and so we're concluding a project that looks at space radiation caused DNA damage effects in neurons. But I've been modifying it to look at to trace cancer cells that have this genomic instability, this activated DNA damage response, and in rapidly dividing cells like prostate cells or cancer cells, then this DNA damage can lead to an accumulation of mutations that can drive cancer. And so the PRISM not only lets us restrict the expression of, say, fluorophores to visualize the damaged cells, but we can also put, say, an enzyme encoded in behind the PRISM actuator construct. So in that way, we can enact a change in the cells, specifically in the cells that have that damage, and it offers a precision-targeted genomic editing approach.